evening. ELBC News Bulletin is read by Varflay Kamara. In the headlines, as Liberian government wins landmark human trafficking case, 13 Judicial Circuit Court in Magebe County sentences 5 defendants. Amidst its immunization program expansion, the Ministry of Health honors WHO specialist Zachary Wamba. Liberia Institute of Public Administration to graduate 500 candidates in different disciplines this Friday. And away from home, Amnesty International calls for abolition of the death penalty in Ghana. Those were the headlines, not on those in detail. The 13th Judicial Circuit Court in Magebe County has handed down final ruling in the human trafficking case involving the sale of a 4-year-old child. The defendants pleaded guilty in an open confession in court admitting to the commission of the crime. The defendants were adjudged guilty of illicit human trafficking, thus making the Liberian government to win the case. Sano County, claiming to be the mother of the child, said due to her indebtedness to her friend in Sierra Leone in the tune of 15 million leones, she indicated to sell the child to settle her debt. Sao has been sentenced to 10-year imprisonment, while co-defendants Kadi Kume and Hannah Bremer were sentenced to 5 years imprisonment, respectively. Considering the youthfulness of the co-defendant, Benjamin Fred, and the fact that he testified to the truth, he was sentenced to 1 year. According to court's ruling, the defendants violated Section 14.55 of the new Penal Code of Liberia. State lawyers were represented by Assistant Minister for Justice for Litigation, Councillor Augustine Fire, Attorney Jonathan Flomo, Legal Counsel, Councillors Sunilius Wema, and Africanos Dennis, while the defendants were represented by Attorney Crow Yonkwe. Health Ministry expanded program of immunization EPR says it has honored WHO specialist Zachary Wamba. The ministry release says Dr. Wamba was honored for helping in improving the EPR at the ministry. Speaking at the honoring program, Deputy Health Minister Francis Kete thanked the outgoing WHO personnel for his service in the ministry. Dr. Kete urged his colleague to remain Liberia's ambassador in promoting health care delivery in the country. According to the release, the honoring program clamors the second quarterly review meeting to take stocks and work out prospects. The Liberia Institute of Public Administration to graduate 500 candidates in different disciplines this Friday. According to LIPA release, the program is the first semester graduation ceremony of the institution. The release said the candidates will receive certificates and diplomas after completing several capacity building programs. LIPA currently provides training in 10 short-term programs which run in every category, including diploma and certificate. Meanwhile, Vice President Joseph Boakai is expected to deliver the keynote address at the graduation program. The release said the ceremony will be held in the auditorium of the University of Liberia on Capitol Hill. The Sharp Home Care Services Showcase says it is working along with partners to empower disabled and low-income women across Liberia. According to Showcase Chief Executive Officer Betty Sharp, her organization will launch a birth month contest to raise funds to support its drive. Madam Sharp said they want to raise about $300 United States to empower about 150 women across Liberia. She noted that a birth month contest program slated for July 21 will be held at the Bella Casa Hotel in Sinka. Madam Sharp maintained that many well-meaning women have offered to support the initiative to empower less fortunate women in Liberia through fundraising. Meanwhile, Showcase accountant Etta Harris disclosed that the organization is also operating in Lofa and Bon counties. The two women spoke Wednesday in an ELBC interview. The Liberian government has received a grant of $11.2 million United States dollars for the European Union. It really said that the EU disbursed the money directly into the treasury account of the government last week to support the national budget. This is the third payment under the EU's budget support program after a first payment of 33 million United States dollars in 2015 and USD 18 million in 2016. EU head of delegation to Liberia, Tina Itiman, said the disbursement of the third payment comes after the government of Liberia made satisfactory progress in improving public financial management. She added that EU gave the €10 million, expecting that the government will use it to provide Liberians with the vital public services they deserve. The EU ambassador, however, encouraged the government to continue improving the management of public finances and fight against corruption. President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf has lauded young graduates of the Ellen Johnson Sirleaf Children Academy for their achievements in academic works. The president expressed impression about achievements of the 17 pupils who graduated from K2 class. According to an executive mansion release, President Sirleaf made a statement Monday at Lutheran Church in Bong Mines when she attended the 6th graduation and daycare closing program of the Ellen Johnson Sirleaf Children Academy. In a brief interaction with the students, the Liberian leader thanked them for their academic achievements and applauded parents of the graduates for all the support to their children. She used the occasion to congratulate Madam Kopu Barclay, representative of District 7 in Bong County, and proprietors of the Ellen Johnson Sirleaf Children Academy located in the former district, Bong County. She commended the principal and all members of the teaching staff for their sacrificial services rendered the children in former district and Liberia in particular. President Sirleaf further pledged her continued support to the school and announced a donation of several sets of uniforms and generator for use by the school. Speaking during the ceremony, Representative Barclay commended President Sirleaf for keeping a promise to attend the graduation of the school during her recent tour of Bong County, which took her to former district. Barclay acknowledged President Sirleaf's contribution towards advancing education for all. A police officer has been disrupted for allegedly beating and killing a 26-year-old man in Sano County. The victim, Emmanuel Side, died upon arrival at the hospital after he was handcuffed and severely beaten by Officer Murphy and imprisoned. The incident occurred Friday last week in Singbe community in Greenville when the victim went to collect $250 Liberian debt from a bank rider. According to our correspondent, the rider, who runs transport business for the officer Murphy, refused to pay what he owed, so the victim prevented him from leaving until his money was paid. He said the rider abandoned the bag and went to inform Officer Murphy about the incident, and when the officer arrived he dealt severely with the victim and dragged him to jail. Presently, the officer is disrobed and is in jail, while the professional unit of the police is expected to arrive in Greenville to carry on investigation. The National Muslim Heritage Foundation, NAM4, has described Vivi Boakai Nukwe ticket as a reflection of hope and a great signal for the transformation of Liberia. NAM4 said a decision of the Vice President to select Speaker Nukwe has added huge political dividends to movements in support of the election of the Vice President. The group further described the action of the Vice President as welcoming development that projects a moral standing of the Unity Party political leader. NAM4 has meanwhile reaffirmed its unflinching support to the Boakai Nukwe bid to transform Liberia and believes that the collaboration represents a sincere action by patriotic Liberians. This newscast comes to you from the News and Public Affairs Department of the Liberia Broadcasting System, broadcast from Painesville, outside Monrovia. The North Central Alliance says the selection of Speaker Emmanuel Nukwe as running mate to Vice President Joseph Boakai is in the interest of all Liberians. NCA is also lauding the groupings, individuals, including the lawmakers and the counties, for their support to VP Boakai. According to the release, NCA believes in the commitment of Nimba County to support Boakai Nukwe ticket in the October elections. The North Central Alliance is mostly comprised of supporters of Boakai from Nimba, Bong, Lofa Gbapolo, and Magibe counties. The pro-Boakai group is at the same time urging distractors to desist from spreading falsehood about the vice president. In a related development, Nambo says the selection of Speaker Emmanuel Nukwe by Vice President Joseph Boakai as his running mate demonstrates the VP belief in the critical role of the youthful generation of Liberians to propel the growth and development of the country. Nambo is the national movement to support Boakai. According to the organization, the decision is not only politically prudent, but one that shows that the vice president is a consensus builder. He has an abiding faith in the vibrancy of the young people to bring vibrant political development and advancement to Liberia. Nambo further notes that he is convinced that Speaker Nukwe is a dependable and loyal partner to Vice President Joseph Boakai to provide a responsive and exemplary leadership for the Liberian people come January 16, 2018. The movement maintains that with the running mate issue now settled, it is now bracing itself to comb the entire country with a very clear message that VP Boakai Nukwe team provides the best alternative for a new people-centered and inclusive government that will promote hope and raise the living standard of ordinary Liberians. Bong County Electoral District 2 Representative Prince Moy has presented 1.1 million Liberian dollars to two organizations in Bangabong County. Representative Moy presented 1 million and 3 motorbikes to a group known as Traditional Friends of Moy and 100,000 Liberian dollars to the Holy Spirit Cathedral Catholic Church. Making a presentation recently on behalf of the lawmaker, the resident coordinator in the office of Representative Moy, Moba Jana, told the Liberian News Agency that the cash donation was in fulfillment of promises the lawmaker made to the two groups last month. Jana assured that the two organizations that Moy remains committed to helping them achieve their objectives. Away from Liberia, Amnesty International is calling for abolition of the death penalty in Ghana. The human rights organization has expressed concern about the deplorable condition of prisoners on death row. According to a new Amnesty report, nearly 150 inmates on death row live in deplorable conditions in Ghana. The BBC said prisons are often overcrowded, poorly maintained, and in some cases have serving toilets for more than 100 prisoners. And the crisis rocking Nigeria's largest opposition party, the People's Democratic Party, has ended after the country's highest court declared Ahmed Makarif its leader. The Supreme Court overturned February ruling of the Court of Appeal that his rival Ali Modu Sharif was the party's true leader. The PDP has battled to come to terms with the loss of power. The court has asked to rule after the PDP, once the most powerful party in Nigeria, failed to resolve the leadership dispute which marred its 2016 convention. To end the news, a recap of the headlines. As Liberian government wins landmark human trafficking case, 13 judicial circuit courts in Magibe County sentences 5 defendants. Amidst its immunization program expansion, the Ministry of Health honors to WHO specialist Zachary Wamba. Liberia Institute of Public Administration to graduate 500 candidates in different disciplines this Friday. And away from home, Amnesty International calls for abolition of the death penalty in Ghana. That's ELBC News Bulletin. I'm Varflay Kamara. Good night.